The moment you realize your life is a lie, it doesn't come with a scream, or a crash, or even a tear. It comes with the sound of a gas valve being shut off, and a man who wasn't supposed to be able to walk standing right behind you. My name is Nora, and for 6 years, I lived in a house filled with secrets I didn't even know existed. Let me start from the beginning, or what I thought was the beginning. I met my husband Derek when I was 24. He was handsome in a quiet way, the kind of man who didn't need to be the loudest in the room to be noticed. He worked as a regional manager for a logistics company. Steady job, steady income, steady lies, as I would later learn. When we got married, he told me about his younger brother Liam. Liam was in an accident 5 years ago, Derek said, his voice heavy. Car crash. He lost the use of his legs. He's been in a wheelchair ever since. I take care of him. He lives with us. I didn't hesitate. I said yes. I wanted to be the kind of wife who welcomed family, not pushed it away. So Liam moved into our guest room on the ground floor. He was quiet, kind. He had Derek's eyes but a softer face. Every morning I would make him breakfast and roll his wheelchair to the living room window so he could see the garden. Every night Derek would help him get ready for bed. I thought we were a family. A broken one, but still a family. But here's what I didn't know. Liam wasn't paralyzed, and Derek wasn't the man I thought he was. It started with small things, strange things. Sometimes I would come home and smell gas in the kitchen. Not strong, just a faint whisper of it. I would check the stove. Everything was off. Derek would say, "Old pipes," and I believed him. Other times I would wake up in the middle of the night feeling dizzy, lightheaded. I blamed it on stress, on the long hours at my job, on not eating enough. But Liam watched. I remember one evening, Derek said he had to go to a late meeting. He kissed my forehead, cold, quick, and left. I was in the living room, folding laundry. Liam was in his wheelchair by the window, staring out at the dark street. I made small talk. "How was your day, Liam?" He didn't answer. Not right away. Then he turned to me, and his eyes, they looked different, scared. "Nora," he said, "do you trust Derek?" I laughed. "Of course, he's my husband." Liam looked back at the window. "Okay," he said. "Okay." I should have asked more, but I didn't, because sometimes we ignore the questions we're afraid to answer. That night I woke up gasping for air. The room smelled overwhelmingly of gas. I stumbled out of bed, my head pounding, and ran to the kitchen. The stove knobs were turned, just slightly, enough to let gas seep out slowly. I turned them off, opened all the windows. Derek came home an hour later. "You left the stove on again," he said. "You need to be more careful." I apologized. I felt stupid. I believed him. The next morning, as Derek left for work, he smiled at me. "I'll be back around 7. Love you." The door closed. His car drove away. And then I heard it. A sound that made every hair on my body stand up. The creak of a wheelchair, followed by footsteps. Footsteps. I froze. I was standing in the kitchen, my back to the hallway. The footsteps came closer, slow, deliberate. Then a hand reached past me and turned the gas valve on the wall, the main valve that fed the entire stove. I spun around. Liam was standing there, on his own 2 feet, fully upright, his wheelchair empty behind him. He put a finger to his lips. "Shh," he whispered. He could come back. My mouth opened. Nothing came out. Liam looked at me, really looked at me, and said the words that shattered my entire world. "Derek has been trying to kill you for 6 months, and I've been pretending to be paralyzed so I could stay alive long enough to stop him." I grabbed the counter to keep from falling. Liam continued, his voice low and urgent. "Every time you smelled gas, that was him. Every time you woke up dizzy, that was him. He turns the knobs just a little before he leaves. Then he comes back, blames you, and makes you think you're losing your mind." "Why?" I finally managed to whisper. Liam's jaw tightened. "Because of the insurance policy he took out on you last year. $2 million. And because you're not the first wife he's tried to kill." The room spun. I thought I was going to be sick. "His first wife, Chloe," Liam said. "She died in a kitchen accident. Gas leak. They ruled it accidental. But I saw him turn those knobs, Nora. I saw everything. And when I confronted him, he pushed me down the stairs. That's how I really ended up in this wheelchair. But I wasn't paralyzed. I just pretended. For 2 years I pretended, because if he knew I could walk, he would have finished the job." I looked at the gas valve, the one he had just shut off. "Why now?" I asked. "Because today he left the gas on high. Not a slow leak. A fast one. You would have been dead in an hour. I couldn't pretend anymore. That was the moment my life split into 2 parts. The part where I was a trusting wife, and the part where I became a woman who knew the truth. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat down on the kitchen floor. Liam stood over me, still watching the front door like a soldier waiting for an enemy. "We don't have much time," he said. "He'll be back around 7. If he sees me standing, he'll know. And he'll do something desperate." "What do we do?" My voice sounded like someone else's. Liam knelt beside me. We do what he never expected. We turned the tables. For the next 3 hours, Liam told me everything. The full story of Derek's lies. How he had married Chloe 6 years before me. How he had taken out a life insurance policy on her. How she had died in a gas accident that Liam had witnessed from his bedroom. "I was 18, Liam said. I didn't know what to do. I was scared. And when I told him I saw him turn the knobs, he smiled. Then he pushed me. I fell down 2 flights of stairs. I broke my back in 3 places. The doctors said I was lucky to be alive. But I wasn't lucky, Nora. I was trapped. He had spent 2 years in that wheelchair, pretending, learning to walk again in secret, late at night when Derek was asleep. He had gathered evidence, photos, recordings, copies of insurance documents. He had hidden them in a waterproof bag under the floorboards of his room. "I was waiting for the right moment," he said. "And then you came along. I tried to warn you, small hints, but you trusted him. And I understand why. He's very good at lying." I thought about all the times I had felt dizzy. All the times I had apologized for leaving the stove on. All the times Derek had looked at me with those caring eyes, while slowly poisoning the air I breathed. I felt something rise in my chest. Not fear, not sadness, rage. "What do you need from me?" I asked. Liam smiled. A cold, knowing smile. "I need you to act. Tonight, when he comes home, you're going to be the scared, confused wife he expects. You're going to tell him you smelled gas again. You're going to cry. And while you do that, I'm going to call the police from the other room. And I'm going to send them everything I have. But won't he see you walking? No. Because I'm going to be right behind the door. And when the police arrive, I'll be in my wheelchair. But I'll stand up in front of them. In front of him. And I'll tell them everything." It was a dangerous plan. If Derek realized what was happening before the police came, he could hurt us. He could turn the gas back on. He could do anything. But staying silent was no longer an option. That evening, Derek came home at 7:15. He looked tired, normal. He kissed my cheek and asked about my day. I played my part. I started crying. "Derek, I smelled gas again. I'm scared. I don't know what's wrong with me." He sighed. "Nora, we've talked about this. You just forget to turn the knobs all the way off. It's okay. No one's perfect. But I checked them. I swear I did." He put his arm around me. "Let me get you some water. You're just stressed." As he walked to the kitchen, I heard Liam's wheelchair creak. He was in the hallway, phone in hand, hidden behind the door. I saw him press send on a message. Derek poured me a glass of water. Then he glanced toward the hallway. "Liam? You okay in there?" No answer. Derek frowned. He walked toward the hallway. I followed, my heart pounding. He pushed open the door to Liam's room. Liam was sitting in his wheelchair, facing the window. But something was wrong. The chair was turned at an odd angle. "Liam?" Then Liam stood up, slowly, deliberately. He turned around and faced his brother. Derek's face went white. His mouth fell open. He stepped back, hitting the wall. You can walk?" "I could always walk," Liam said, his voice steady. "I just needed you to believe I couldn't. So you wouldn't try to kill me too. That's insane. I never. I have recordings, Derek, of you turning the gas knobs. Of you talking about Chloe's insurance money. I have everything." Derek's eyes darted around the room, looking for an escape, looking for a weapon. Then we heard the sirens. Derek lunged toward the kitchen, toward the gas valve. But Liam was faster. He grabbed his brother's arm and twisted it behind his back. "It's over," Liam said. The police broke down the front door 30 seconds later. They found Derek on the floor, Liam holding him down, and me standing in the corner, shaking but alive. The investigation took months. The police found everything Liam had hidden. Audio recordings. Photos of the stove knobs in different positions. Copies of insurance policies taken out on me and on Chloe. Bank statements showing Derek had been struggling with debt and saw his wives as paydays. They even found evidence that Chloe's death wasn't an accident. The case was reopened. Derek was charged with first-degree murder, attempted murder, fraud, and witness tampering. He didn't fight it. When his lawyer told him the evidence was overwhelming, he pleaded guilty. He's serving life in prison without parole. As for me, I divorced him the same week he was sentenced. I didn't even have to show up to court. My lawyer handled everything. But the hardest wasn't the divorce, or the trial, or the nightmares. The hardest part was looking at myself in the mirror and asking, how did I not see it? I lived with a man who was slowly poisoning me. I apologized to him for almost dying. I believed him when he said I was forgetful, clumsy, crazy. I let him rewrite my reality. And the only reason I'm alive today is because a man who had been pushed down the stairs by his own brother chose to stand up. Liam and I don't talk much anymore, not because we're angry, but because we both need to heal separately. He moved to another state, got a job, started walking without hiding. Last I heard, he was training for a 5K. Can you believe it? Sometimes I think about what he said to me that day in the kitchen, after he shut off the gas. I couldn't pretend anymore. That's what betrayal does. It forces good people to pretend, to smile, to act like everything is fine while their world burns around them. But the moment you stop pretending, that's the moment you start living. I don't have nightmares about Derek anymore. I have dreams about Chloe, about the wife who wasn't as lucky as me. In my dreams, she's standing in a bright kitchen with no gas smell, and she's smiling. She doesn't say anything. She just nods. Like she's telling me, you did good. You survived for both of us. I kept the house for a while. Then I sold it. Too many memories. Too many ghosts. I live in a small apartment now, just me and a cat I adopted from the shelter. Her name is Lucky. Every night before I go to bed, I check the stove knobs. Not because I'm scared, but because I made a promise to myself. I will never ignore the small signs again. I will never apologize for my own instincts. And I will never, ever trust someone just because they said, I love you. Love isn't words. Love is actions. And sometimes the person who loves you most isn't the one who shares your bed. It's the one who pretends to be broken so they can save you. So here's my lesson for you, whoever is listening. If something feels wrong, if you smell gas, literally or figuratively, don't explain it away. Don't let someone convince you that you're imagining things. Don't let love become a blindfold. Stand up, walk to the valve, and shut it off. Because the people who are supposed to protect you, sometimes they're the ones you need protection from. And the people you least expect might just be the ones who save your life. I'm Nora, and I'm still here. Not because I was strong, but because someone else was brave enough to stop pretending.